Come on in. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Buckles Locker. Subscribe to the channel, like the channel, share all the videos. Don't forget to hit the notification bell icon to notify you all new videos that's posted on this channel. Surprise, but surprise. We are here. First day of the game. There we go. First game of the season, B. I'm gonna be at the soup. I'm gonna be at the Mercedes-Benz Dome. I'm gonna be leaving here about 11:30. I'm gonna slide on over to the dome. I'm gonna see what's happening. You know what I'm talking about? What you talking about? We here. I'm on here. I'll be at the game today. This is what Buckles like to do. We back in the full centerfold of things. Those of you that don't know me, it's Buckles Locker. Been here for a few years, you know. Got Pirates and Sea Bandits in the background. You know what I'm talking about? Come on in. Let's have a good conversation before we get this day started. Big day of football for everybody. Welcome back to the NFL season 2025. I'm excited. College football has started, but you know what I'm saying? My main focus was Sunday. I get my Sundays back. I'm excited. I get to make a lot of more videos now. We're gonna be more interactive now. You know, it's gonna be fun. You know, I've been doing it for a while, so I enjoy. This is one of my favorite times of the year. I get to talk to you guys about football. You know, we get to have a good time. We've been doing this for a long time. You know what I'm saying? And what better way you can start the season off with first game of the season against a divisional opponent that is supposed to be on your heels. You know, the Atlanta Falcons supposed to be, right behind the Bucs and as far as challenging the Bucs. Now, we finished 10-7 last year. There was 8-9 because of Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, old man Kirk Cousins kind of screwed the season over. I mean, but we had a discussion already. I mean, Atlanta was really right there. I mean, to keep it 100, you know what I'm saying? Like, on some football talk, you know what I'm talking about. But watch out. So, at the end of the day, 2024 it is what it is. We can't talk about 2024. We can only reference 2024. You know what I'm saying? We can only make reference points about 2024. We got now we got something to talk about. We got 2025 is right here, and I'm excited. I'm excited for the Bucs. I'm expecting big things this year from the Bucs. No more mediocre stuff. So when I speak on the Bucs this season, I'm speaking on the Bucs in terms of we'll just get by. So when the expectations go up, the conversations get a little tougher because we no longer can't talk about, oh man, come on, the Bucs, man, dang. No, it's got to be like they should have did this, they should have won the game, whatever the case may be. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, but the conversations got to be a little more tougher because we're not a bad team. No longer the conversations can be mediocre. So what I need for you Pirates and Sea Bandits, and even me, I'm gonna need y'all to up the level of conversation when it comes to the Bucs. No more, more victories and pity pats on the back. You got to be tough on the Bucs because we think the Bucs are good, right? So we have to talk like that. Can't be talking like we can't be babying the Bucs anymore. The excuses and pushing a narrative and just trying to say, well, they're not really like that, not respecting your opponents and things like that, because we are on the verge of the Bucs being a top 10 team. This season will tell you if the Bucs are going to make it to the top 10. Right now, I don't have them in my top 10, but they're close. They're sitting there between 11 and 15. You know what I'm saying? So until we see a little bit more better from the defense, I can't put them in the top 10 because of their defense. Offensively, yes. They have a top 10 offense, don't get me wrong. But because of the defense, in particular the pass rush, and specifically edge in the pass defense, I can't put them in the top 10. I got to put them between 11 and 15. You know, I can flip a coin between them and a few teams, but that's why I'll put them at. But the Bucs are on the verge of becoming a top 10 team if they finish this season how they're supposed to. And we'll get into that in a second. As you can see, the topic of discussion is a schedule prediction and Bucs versus Falcons preview, right? And we're expecting some great things from the Bucs. You know, we're expecting they're like, as far as like talking down on the Bucs, it's not really talking down. It's about expectations. You know what I'm saying? We want the Bucs to excel to another level. You know, matter of fact, before I even go into the schedule prediction and then go into the Bucs versus Falcons preview, let me speak on let me give some shout outs real quick before I start the 2025 first video of the season off. Matt, what's up, buddy? Big Buck. Yeah, we got a link up, man. I'm in section 210. Buck Fanatic, Mom for Christ, Darius, Clack 5 White. I clap you in the coma. Bucks, Rays, Bolts. Who else in the building? Mom for Christ, what's up, man? Yeah, gotta get my shout outs, man. My early birds, you know what I'm saying? Mom for Christ, man. I see you, man. Yeah, you know, the media is starting to take notice. Well, the thing about it is with the media, I still think they're finicky on the media. You know what I'm saying? I believe the media, there's some media members, but they're not like big names. They're kind of like low-level media members and maybe mid-level, but I don't think they truly believe us because of the defense. Because when you read the season preview on the Bucs across, you know, CBS Sports and ESPN and NFL, every time you read about the Bucs, the synopsis about the Bucs is great offense, O-line's good, running game, receivers, quarterback. The defense got to get better. It's always the same. It's always the same conversation amongst the NFL talk. People like our offense, but they don't like our defense. You know what I'm saying? I've seen some predictions where they didn't have us winning the division. I've seen some where they wrote up saying that the Falcons are going to take the division, but the Bucs will be a wild card. I've seen it where the Bucs will do good, but their defense is going to let them down. Then I also seen some people say if their defense can be a better rushing the passer and not leave the secondary hanging out to dry, the Bucs would do great things. So there's like mixed reviews. There's like no solid like the Ravens, the Bills, the Chiefs, the Eagles, the Lions. Like there's no like, oh, they're gonna win. You know, they're gonna get to the Super Bowl. Like they don't. When they talk about the Bucs, they don't speak like that. They speak like the Bucs are a good team, but it's always a but. Yeah, Mike Florio is a lawyer, by the way. He always ride with us, right? But they always stop short when it comes to like the big games with us. When it comes to making to the NFC Championship or the Super Bowl, there's one guy, Peter Briscoe. He's riding with the Bucs all day. And I think he had us going to the Super Bowl or something like that, which is great. But just from a football perspective, you know, I can understand why the media members think we're going to do good, but I also understand why they think we're going to do good but come up short. If that makes sense. They think they believe that we're going to win the division because the division is not good. But they also on the back end say they'll make the playoffs, but they won't get past, you know, they won't get to the NFC Championship. So it's almost like we are a playoff team, but as far as making noise, I think the reason why they say that is because we've been 3 straight years of one and done. That's the problem. I think that's why they don't have us going past any further. They don't have us going to the NFC Championship or the Super Bowl in general. I'm just kind of give you a backfill on what the all-season talk was, because the all-season talk about the Bucs, the all-season talk was really about the offense. Like literally, like the Bucs made the move to get Hassan Reddick, and that was, you know, good for the pass rush and all that. And you know, they didn't really speak on the defense like that. Anytime they talked about the Bucs, it was about the offense. Let's be real. Oh, Big Buck, I see you. Section 132, Clack 5 White, Section 135. Look, Big Buck and Clack 5 White, y'all need to link up too, man. Y'all right next to each other. Section 132 and Section 135. I'm in Section 210. Bucs raise vote. Section 124. So we got 3 guys that is going to be at the game in the same area, or 4 people, including me. But Bucs raise votes, Clack 5 White, and Big Buck. Y'all need to link up. Y'all literally in the same section, pretty much. I'm on the other side probably. I think something like that. But I'm in 210. Oh, Buck Fanatic 235. So okay, so me and Buck Fanatic are close, so we can probably say what's up. So there's gonna be a lot going on. The Mercedes-Benz Dome, it gets crunk, you know what I'm saying? It gets live in that thing. So there's a lot going on. I'm excited, you know what I'm saying, about the game. But I know y'all here to listen to what I've got to say about the Bucs schedule prediction. And I went back and forth with this too. And now the reason why I waited till today to make the video is I kind of wanted to do something different right before the game, right? Make a schedule prediction, you know what I'm saying? And I went back and forth with this, right? I was looking at the floor and I was looking at the ceiling, right? You know, and I kept thinking back and forth the different variables about the Bucs, what's great about the Bucs, what's mediocre, what's not great, right? The good outweigh the bad. Let me just say that the good outweigh the bad, right? And that's pretty clear. But the problem is the bad parts can hurt the Bucs in key games. Because the Bucs will win a lot of their games. Don't get me wrong. Let's just put it out there. They're gonna win some games, right? It's just the key games that they need to win, and also they have to avoid the WTF games. And we've talked about this. The WTF games, we had a couple of those last year. Falcons, you know, the 49ers. You know, those games. What I mean by WTF games is games that, you know, they wake up, like, because usually in the first half the Bucs kind of start slow, but in the second half they turn it on. But there was a few games last year that literally the Bucs should have won, but they didn't. And it was a lot of WTF moments, you know, and especially against the Falcons. And I didn't like that. So hopefully the Bucs can clean those areas up, and though those games won't be WTF games, you know. So we're gonna see, but the Bucs are known to have those games, even in the Tom Brady era. We've had WTF games. So I think we can all agree, you know, these last several years that there's a couple games per season that the Bucs be like, what is that? You know what I'm saying? And it's a head scratching moments, and then those games come back to hurt us too. Because one thing I would say about our division, nobody in the media, talking heads, or social media world, in football world, nobody respects the NFC South. Let's just call it how I see it. Nobody, I got to keep it real with y'all. Nobody respects the NFC South. In the power rankings, if you got any stock in that, the power rankings, you know, even everybody have their own NFL team rankings. The NFC South is the weakest division. You know, you can do with that what you will. There's no way around that. You can put icing on the cake. You can put honey and all that and try to make it sweet. But the reason why the division is weak, because we got the Panthers and the Saints bogging down the division. Those teams are not a threat to do anything. Saints and Panthers are not going to do anything. Right? They're dead in the water. So when you have 4 teams in the division and 2 of them are dead in the water, 2 of them are bottom 7 teams, that's not good. That's 4 cupcake wins. I don't care about, oh, it's the divisional rival. We have a better roster than the Saints and the Panthers. So I don't want to hear this, oh, it's a divisional game. Their divisional games are tough. I don't care. Those are 4 wins right there. And then the Falcons and the Bucs, you could toss it up, you know, split that. You know, so that's 5 wins in that division, guaranteed this year. 5 wins in that division guaranteed. So I don't want to hear this, oh, the division games are tough. I don't care. You see my hashtag. It's time. So that's 5-1 right there off the top. I got 5 wins for the Bucs off the top of my head right there. Now, when I went back and forth with the floor and the ceiling, I'm like, okay, The Bucs, they've gotten better every year by 1 game. 8-9, 9-8, 10-7, right? So I had to reset the floor and the ceiling, right? So my schedule prediction for the Bucs, here we go. You know what I'm saying? I got the Bucs, and I'm gonna say this with a caveat here. I got them at 10.5, 10.5 wins, right? And I'm not gonna over-explain this, but you gotta understand where I'm coming from. I got the Bucs at 10.5 wins. And the reason why that got that half in there, because there has to be a game where everything falls for the Bucs. Everything has to fall for the Bucs. But I don't know exactly what game that would be, but there will be a game that will be the difference between 10 and 11 wins. But I got them at 10.5. So in other words, 10-6. You know what I'm saying? 10-6. That's my ceiling. The floor is 9 wins. So if you say 9-11 wins, you take the middle. It's almost like playing it safe because you're not sure because of the defense, which is fair enough, right? But I got them winning 10 games. 10-7 again. But there is a game that if the Bucs can figure it out, they can get 11-5. 11-6. But that's fair enough based on what I've seen the Bucs do in the draft, what I've seen the Bucs do in the free agency, and the potential growth of the Bucs with the young players. Remember, this is before the season starts. Going into the season, I got them going 10-7. You know what I'm saying? I got them going 10-7, possible 11-6, possible. But I'm not gonna put no money in that. You know what I'm saying? So 10-7 is fair enough. But the floor for the Bucs is 9 wins. 9-8. Now, regardless of their record, I got them winning the NFC South. Easy. The Falcons might give us a little push here and there, but I don't think they're good enough yet. And then they lost their right tackle, Caleb McCary, and their backup right tackle, Storm Johnson. Right. So as I transition to the Bucs Falcons preview, but I want to stay in the schedule prediction. Give me your schedule prediction. Give me your record for the season before the season starts. This is before the game start. What do you have the Bucs finishing this season? Do you have their floor at 9? Do you have their ceiling at 12-13? Or do you have them win 11 games? Do you have them win 12 games? Do you have them win 13? But see, I got the Bucs going 10-7 with a legit explanation behind it. Not over explaining, but I'm giving y'all the reasons why I got them at 10-7. I'm not just saying 10-7 because I'm in my feelings. I'm thinking about my feelings, and I hate every other team, and I don't think no team is. I think all the other teams are inferior to the Bucs. I'm literally telling y'all with some context behind why I got them 10-7. You know what I'm saying? And that's fair enough, based on what I've seen in the offseason. Going into the season. Now, seven losses is quite a bit, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? For a team with the expectations of the Bucs. But remember, the reason why is the defense, right? And the coaching. If the coaching gets better, the in-game management, time management for Todd Bowles, timeouts and critical decisions get better, and that defense pass rush get better, and that secondary kind of matches the pass rush, then of course they can win 11 games, maybe even 12. But I just don't see it at this going into the season. Now, if they go 12-5 or 11-6, great. I'm all for that. But I have to look at what they did in the offseason and the question marks going into the season. Key phrase, going into the season. Because y'all already know me. I'm always over facts over feelings. I'm not a big feelings guy. I don't want to feel the Bucs should win 12 games. I need to know. And right now, I just can't tell you I know they're going to win 12 games. I know they're going to win 11 games. But what I do know is the floor is 9. The ceiling may be 11, but 10 seems about to be a safe bet. And people are like, oh, you're playing it safe, Buckles Lock. You're playing it safe. No, it's not really playing it safe. It's just based on what they've done. Because they didn't really do anything dramatic to upgrade the team. Like, remember, I always tell y'all this. For the Bucs to go to the next level, something significantly has to get better or change. And when you look at the offseason, they didn't really make huge splashes. Like the draft class, solid, first round receiver, which obviously played a part in, coming into the season. Then you got 2 cornerbacks in the 2nd and 3rd round and 2 pass rushers in the 4th and 5th round. But what everybody wanted the Bucs to do in the offseason was to upgrade the pass rush. Like a lot of us, now, Emeka, this is not about Emeka. This is about what a lot of fans was expecting. We were expecting that the offense was good. We were expecting that, okay, the Bucs are going to address the defense, in particular the pass rush. Because a lot of us fans, at least 80% of us, knew that the pass rush wasn't good enough. When your defensive tackle or nose tackle is leading your team in sacks, that should tell you everything you need to know about the pass rush. They only get pressure basically in the middle. But if we can somehow Yaya Diaby and Hassan Reddick and Anthony Nelson and Chris Braswell, if somehow, some way they can just upgrade and just get better and match Vita and Kalaji Clancy, then the pass rush will be furious because we got the inside pressure. Now the inside pressure, we want to see a little bit more consistency there, but at least it's there. And what we thought as fans in the offseason, the Bucs were going to revamp that pass rush, and they really didn't. So that's what causes that's the cause for pause for me. I know people putting a lot of stock on Hassan Reddick, and I hope he has a great season. I hope he gives us 10 to 13 sacks, 10 to 12 sacks. That'd be great, right? But he's playing for a contract, so I'm expecting him to play with extra juice, right? But the cause for pause for me is they didn't revamp that D-line. They didn't revamp, they didn't address the D-line, go in and get 3-4 new people on that D-line to help the edge rushers. Because once again, folks, I'm not worried about the offense. This season will be about, most of the conversation will be about what the defense doing or what they're not doing. I'm not worried about the offense. I'm not concerned about them. They'll be fine. So when I speak on the offense, if they mess up, fine, we'll talk about it. But for this season, for me, the main primary objective for me to talk about is what the defense is not doing or what they're doing good. Because anything they do good is going to be highlighted on this channel big time, because we need to see improvement, period. For the last 4, 5, 6, 7 years, we kept complaining about the pass rush. Well, the last 4 years minimum. The Shaq Barrett drop off, the Anthony Nelson, the Tryon Stoinka, the Logan Hall, and the Braswells, and you know what I'm saying? It's why can't we have an elite pass rusher? Why can't we have one? Remember, edge rushers are a premium position. And the Bucs have issues at 2 areas of a premium position: edge rusher and cornerback. And shout out to Luke Gedeke for getting his contract extension. And I know we were hard on Luke Gedeke when he came on to the Bucs as a guard, 2nd round pick, and he was terrible as a guard. And they moved him to right tackle, his natural position, and he's gotten better every year. And he's earned that extension. He's earned it. And a lot of us was hard on him when he played guard. And then his first year at right tackle, he was okay. And then his second year at right tackle was wait a minute, this dude doing some things, right? And then now he's at the level of he's a pending Pro Bowl player. It just took some time. Maybe the Bucs should have played him at his position from the jump. But they was trying to get that interior cleaned up, you know what I'm saying? But that's fine. And also I want to give a shout out to Zion McCullough. 3-year, $48 million contract, $35 million guaranteed. That contract pretty much tells me middle of the pack cornerback. You know what I'm saying? 35 million guaranteed. And y'all know me, when I see guaranteed money, I divide it by 2. You know what I'm saying? So 35 million guaranteed divided by 2, $17 million a year. Not the elite pay, because he doesn't force turnovers. He does pass breakups, but to get paid as a cornerback, you have to produce turnovers too, fumbles or interceptions, and he lacks in that area. He's not a natural ball hawk. All the guys that are higher, that are paid higher than McCullough, they do more. McCullough's, like I said, McCullough's not a bad cornerback. He's developed, but the pay pretty much tell you exactly where he's at, middle of the pack, which is good for the Bucs. So that lets me know he's the CB number 1 now. Zion McCullough is cornerback number 1. You will guard the receiver. You will guard Drake London. Okay, you will be guarding Drake London, right? You will be going against AJ Brown and Devontae Smith and Amon-Ra St. Brown. You go stick them. He's still young too, so he can go get another big contract at 28 years old. But number 35 is no longer the cornerback number 1. You know what's so funny, folks? It comes in the full circle here. The contract they gave Zion McCullough is very similar to what they gave Carlton Seatbelt Davis in number 35. If you go back and do your research, when the Bucs gave Seatbelt Davis the contract, it was a 3-year contract. And then when they gave Jamel Dean the contract, they gave him a 3-year, $54 million contract. So they gave Zion McCullough a similar deal. Now, when they gave number 35 and Seatbelt Davis the contracts, their play didn't get better. So they're banking on Zion McCullough play. He's an ascending cornerback. We'll see with Jamel Dean, with number 35 and Seatbelt Davis, at the time, they weren't ascending. They were pretty much, they are who they are. Right? And then Todd Bowles said Benjamin Morris is not playing this week, but he'll be available next week. Now, I will say this. If Seatbelt Davis get hurt, if number 35 get hurt, and they put Benjamin Morris in there, I think that's what they're banking on. They're banking on number 35 to get hurt, which he will. When he get burnt toast Jamel Dean, when he gets burnt, he's going to fall down like he's hurt, and he's going to come off to the sideline, and Benjamin Morris is going to come in there, and he's going to stay in there. He's going to stay in there. Watch. Number 35 is going to get hurt. Now, Benjamin Morris is not playing today, but I guarantee you at some point this week, at some point this season, number 35 will get benched for Benjamin Morris. And then we'll have, McCullough and Morrison at the cornerback. But I also heard talks of Jacob Parrish playing on the outside and Zion McCullough playing the slot, which is very interesting because they say Jacob Parrish can play on the outside and inside because he played on the outside at Kansas State. So stay tuned for that turn of events, that Jacob Parrish go to the outside and Zion McCullough goes to the inside. And they say, well, McCullough has issues with quick receivers. He has a hard time sticking with quick receivers, which is kind of true. And now Zion McCullough has given up. I think he was like top 5 in the most yards given up at cornerback. So maybe the Bucs might see something. They might mix it up. But the good thing about it with Jacob Parrish is his versatility will allow McCullough to kind of move around a little bit because McCullough can play slot too. You know what I'm saying? Because he has some issues at times, but Jacob Parrish, he's very solid. He's very sticky. And I'm pretty sure some of y'all have heard about this story that Jacob Parrish might be on the outside. That you might see him on the outside at times because he did it in the preseason. He played the slot and the outside. So I want y'all to stay tuned on that too, folks. It's kind of like he reminds me of another young player, Mike Sandersteele of the Commanders. He was really good at Michigan. He played outside cornerback. But then they moved him to the inside, right? Because Mike Sandersteele, very intelligent, very savvy, very smart cornerback. He's so good, they had to move him back on the outside. Even though they traded for Marshawn Lattimore, they had Mike Sanders still on the outside, and Jacob Parrish reminds me of that guy. You know, Jacob Parrish reminds me of a very smart, high IQ, savvy cornerback, good tackler. He can play across the board. He can probably even play safety. But when I read up on that story, I was like, wait a minute, they might have him on the outside. I was like, well, what are they gonna do with McCullough? Oh, well, we might move him on the inside in certain plays. So that's a pretty good deal that we have a versatile cornerback slash slot guy, nickel guy that we can move around, do the defense. You know what I'm saying? Now, rookies do go through growing pains. Now, we do know that. So with Jacob Parrish, you know what I'm saying, Emeka, we got two rookies that will be pretty much starting, right? And I'm looking forward to those guys on the field. I can't wait to see them perform. They're going to be great players for the Bucs. I think they are. We still, the jury's out on Benjamin Morris still, and then of course, you know, Roberts and our other pass rusher that's hurt. But the main focus for me for this game is the defense, because the Falcons are explosive. You know, London, Mooney, Ray McLeod, Pitts, if he can get himself together. Then you got running back with B. John Robinson and Tyler Algier. The O line still solid, folks. Like let's not act like the O line is bad, even though their right tackle, starting right tackle, and their backup right tackle is hurt. One of them is out for the season. I think both of them might be out for the season. But and then they got a new center. But you know, we've been there as Bucs fans. We've been there as Bucs fans. When guys got hurt, we were still able to perform. We just switched it up. And the funny thing about it is if you're a good offense, you're going to be able to adjust on the fly. But the thing about it, the Falcons had time to prepare their offensive scheme without their right tackle and having a new center. You know, and I know Mooney is banged up. I think he has a shoulder injury. I think he's going to be a game time decision. They had him at questionable, but he's a game time decision. But they're going to test him out. But you got to expect, if Mooney's out, of course, if their right tackle's out, starting right tackle, backup right tackle out, the Falcons they're going to try to run the ball. They're going to try to run the ball, and and with B. John and Tyler Algier, and do the play action pass, because they're going to help out Penix on that right side. Because I believe Hassan Reddick is going to be over there, lined up over the right tackle. So, Algier and Pitts, and B. John Robinson, they're going to chip him a lot. They're going to help out that right tackle quite a bit, which means if they're going to focus, if they're going to shift the focus to Hassan Reddick to help out the third string right tackle, that means Yaya should be able to eat, correct? I mean, Yaya should be able to eat one-on-one, but he's going against Jake Matthews, where he's a really good left tackle. So this is going to be the first early test for Yaya Diaby. Is he going to make the jump? Let's not forget, the Falcons still got 3 good linemen. Yeah, they got a new center. Yeah, they got a backup right tackle, but they still got the 3 other positions. Left tackle, left guard, and right guard are still really good. So let's not forget that. But Yaya Diaby, first test of the season, going against a top 15 tackle. All the talk about him making the jump. Well, we're good. Well, here's Jake Matthews, a solid left tackle. He's been there for a long time. He knows the game. And can Yaya use his strength and quickness to beat the veteran guy? And I'm not talking about a play here and then 10 plays later you make another play. I'm talking about consistently beat Jake Matthews. First test of the season, first game of the season, Jake Matthews. There you go. Show up and show out. I don't want to hear this. He's a 10-sack guy and he's this and that. Prove it this game. First game of the season, you going against a top 15 left tackle. We need to see this out the gate. All this talk about him making the jump, well, out the gate. Third, because there's going to be plenty of third downs for Yaya Diaby to get in there. Jake Matthews is a good left tackle, folks. Don't get it twisted. I'm not trying to, big up Jake Matthews, but come on, man. We just talking football. Because Hassan Reddick is going to get all the attention. He's going to get all the attention. So at the end of the day, we know what Vita is going to do. We know what Clancy is going to do, right? But Atlanta can run the ball. And they have a nice little passing game, too, because I believe Penix is better than Kirk Cousins. Obviously, we all know that, but at this point of his career. But Penix has more talent, arm talent. So, Drake London, baby Mike Evans, by the way. He can give us problems, too. Mooney can give us problems. Raven McLeod give us problems. Bijan Robinson will be the key, though. If they can stop Bijan Robinson, you shut down the Falcons. You know what I'm saying? Vita has foot problems. So even though Vita's going to play, I believe he's going to play. I think Vita's going to be on the count. Vita got foot problems. And as a big man with foot problems, you're trying to plant your feet. You're trying to anchor because Vita has to anchor a lot. So I'm pretty sure they're going to be very careful with him and not overdo him this game. And he goes in there and re-injures that foot, and he's going to be out for a few weeks, and then here we go. Because when he's not on the field, the Bucs rush defense gets worse. All right. So that means Kalashi Clancy on third downs. We need to see something. I think he's going to have a good season. I'm going to say 7 to 12 sacks with him. Right. But he's got to be able to hold up against the run. I think that's my concern with him. Got to be able to hold up against the run, which is the reason why he plays well with Vita. That's why we need Vita healthy. And I don't know how healthy he is this game, but he's going to play, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, Tristan's not playing. He might be back next week. We know Godwin's not playing. He's going to be back in October, right? Benjamin Morris is not playing, right? 1 second. Let me take this phone call here. Yeah, as I was saying, at the end of the day, it's going to have to stop the run. You got to stop the run, and the Bucs should be fine. So my prediction for this game, I got the Bucs winning. I got the Bucs winning in a close game, 27-24. The Bucs will have the ball in the fourth quarter. This is my prediction. The Bucs will have the ball in the fourth quarter, and they will find a way to win that game, and move to 1-0 or 1-0, obviously. But close game. The Falcons, they last 4 games they've won 3, so they're going to keep it close. It's going to be a tough game, but I think the Bucs will pull it out. 27-24. Get that out the way. Chalk it up as a dub. You know what I'm saying? And I do have them splitting with the Falcons, by the way. So I think the Falcons will get us down the road. Once Penix get himself together in that second game against the Falcons, I think, we'll get to that. We'll see how it works out. But it doesn't change my schedule prediction. 10-7. Maybe 11-6, but 10-7 is solid right there. So I got to finish getting myself ready. I got to be out of the door at 11:30. But tell me what you guys think with the schedule prediction and what you think who's going to win this game. Do you have the Bucs winning? Do you have the Falcons winning? And for those of you that will be at the game, Buckles Locker will be there, section 210. And I should be arriving via train. So I should be at the game probably about 12:30. So we'll see. With that being said, there you have it. 10-7 prediction. And I got the Bucs beating the Falcons today, 27-24. With that being said, fire those cannons, seize the day, raise the flag. Hashtag, it's time. Hashtag, no excuses. Hashtag, I don't want to hear it. Hashtag, get your weight up. Facts over feelings, probability over possibility. Hashtag why. Hashtag what are we doing? Bucs Locker signing out, heading to the Mercedes-Benz Dome. Let's get it. I'll see y'all later. Post game conversation. Deuces.